Hello everyone, today's video is going to talk about the process and the workflow of this animation that we're working on together. Now there's going to be a lot of people who worked on this, so I don't even have the full list right now. I'll put as much as people that I knew who worked on this in the description, but if Jaden decided to put the list in the comment, I'll pin it there because he was the last person who handled this project when I left the project. So around last year again when I left, like I said. So yeah. But I decided to do the editing, and sometimes if I feel like this part is not up into my liking, I will change it a little bit. Now there's a little bit of controversy with that because a lot of people feel bad whenever I change things with their work. It's just that I feel like it's too fast. There are things that is all right to look fast, specifically the fighting. They're all right to be too fast for the eyes to see. If you want your audience to be, I don't know, have epileptic things, I don't know, to go through. Yeah, sure, go ahead, I'm not stopping you with that, but I don't want to do that. I want it to be visible at the very least and understandable. So yeah, so the workflow is first that we need a story. Now we've already have the story because this is a remake, so that's off the mark. There are specific beat of the story that we need to follow through, such as the first segment, which Goku versus this and that, Goku arrives, this blah blah blah, whatever. So there's a specific story beats, and there's specific segments. Now we give these segments out to specific people who has a certain amount of skills, who are capable of them. So let's say this person letter A or person letter B, they're good at combos and doing those kind of stuff, fast-paced combat. We give them this certain amount of what do you call this, frames or whatever to work with. And then there's also, let's say, people who's good at long moment shots or like dialogues or whatever like that. We give them to them instead. Now this is the people who's working on it are voluntary work, and again I need to see if they are up to the cut, or basically on the par that I want it to be. uh, their skill are enough. There are some instances that I hired, well, it's not like I hired, but I accepted some help from a really beginner. They just started 3 months, and then that stuff, because I see that they're good at effects and all that stuff, but they decline to work on effects. They want to actually try and enhance their skills as they go with this, which their parts are a little bit rough here and there, and I have to redo it. Now I'm not complaining about that, of course. I understand they're willing to help, their willingness to help, but again it adds more work to me, and then they just claim that they made it even though I basically remake it. So it's fine. It's a little bit of controversy, I know, but what am I gonna do about it? It's not like it's a big drama out there. This is the thing why I wanted to leave it, because it's a contradictory of what I imagine it to be. So yeah, anyways, moving on from this. This video is not about that, obviously. It's about this. So after the story that we have, we're going to translate that into visuals. Now at first we only communicated through texts. Now we don't have phones, of course. What I mean by this in Discord, which is text, so through words it wasn't clear enough, and there are things that I thought that it's it's not, it doesn't convey the thing that I want it to be conveyed. So then I had to change it a little bit here and there, and then we decided to just go along with the storyboard or the first draft of things. Now we are going to show you the part where I what do you call this, animated in the stream last week. So this is the storyboard or the drafting of that animation that I worked on. So I'll just show it once for now and stop talking for a little bit. So as you can see, it's not too detailed. That's not the point, because we're not animating this in Flash. Though I worked with Flash on this. It's just the GIF file that I'm showing to you guys. We have two different colors, which is the red for Zycor, and then turquoise, or I don't know, dark blue green or whatever, for Gogeta Super Saiyan 5. And then the movements are not even, you know, obvious, because they're open to interpretation if ever you got this, you know, particular part or segment to work with. So yeah, first is, I'm not sure if it's this is the first version. No, this is not the first version. So yeah, I think this is the first version. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so this first part here, I have to credit where credit is due. Since I did the storyboard, yes, obviously I did the storyboard, I directed it, but this part was animated by Magus. But because Magus or Apex, I don't know, they changed their name a lot. But because Magus didn't do it the way I imagined it to be, I had to redo it again, because the perspective is a little bit skewed, and I don't know, it is hard to capture. So just around that part, and then here is where I continued. So obviously I was following the storyboard around that, and then here is some different variation of it. I wasn't able to do really what I wanted to do there, so I might change it a little bit there. So yeah, and then if we just, you know, watch the whole thing from here, I'm sorry I stopped it. So yeah. And as you can see, it's a little bit rough here and there. There's some particular parts that I decided to change and decided to improve on. So first is, we're going to talk about this part. Now we didn't have enough time, as you can see. We only have like a split second. Now I'm here to talk about how it will be, you know, jarring for a person who's watching this for the first time. Now of course I'm playing this again and again, so you'll obviously get what's happening, but for the first few, it's like a microseconds, you won't be even able to, you know, catch this happening, that he's teleporting there. If you blink your eye, you might miss it. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, and I think, yeah, so in the change, obviously I didn't have enough time back then, so the change is here. So you see that there's a pause here. Obviously the camera is moving faster than they are moving. That's the point of slow motion. So it zooms in, and then we see the reaction shot. The first one, we didn't even have him, we don't even see him getting hit. We just see that the mountain just, you know, discombobulated or whatever, disintegrated. So there you go. That's the first change. We see his face, and then we see him getting hit, and then we see the mountain getting hit by him. Well, we see the mountain obviously, and then by that, you know, if you're watching this picture A, picture B, or, you know, in order, you'd be able to understand that, oh, he hit him, obviously. But without showing him getting hit, it almost feels less impactful like this. You know, you just see, like, you can almost say that, is that laser or whatever at first few seconds, and then just, oh, so he hit him. You didn't even see the full swing, compared to this, where you really actually felt the hit, and you felt or see the full swing of the, you know, force and all that stuff. Sorry, I burped. So after that, we see the recoil, or as you know, as I like to call, the reaction, or this shot, which is he's just staring at him. Now if we look back at the, what do you call this, storyboard, or the draft, you'll see that he got hit, mountains got, you know, scattered and all that stuff, and then we see him, and then he pushes back and then flies towards us or in the corner of the screen or whatever. Now here I didn't have the time to animate it, so we instantly cut to this character, and then Seto, the mad lad he is, the Chad, the person who animated after it. So that was all my part after Magus, which is Magus did this, Magus or Magus, I don't know, Chungus. So yeah. And then here after this, which is this part, this is by Seto, which he added. So we'll see how it will turn out without Gogeta flying towards us. Now I'll show it again. Now, first impression is that obviously we get what's happening, but it doesn't, you know, make the cut, I guess. It doesn't translate very well. It doesn't go through a transition where you get the feeling that he's actually going to him. So it feels like it just stopped for a second. Like here, it just stopped. It's gradually, you know, it just stopped. It's gradually speeding up again, and then we're fast again. Like, oh my god, it's fast. So that's fine, right? Your attention span is fine with that. But if you want it to be a little bit spicier or a little bit, you know, actually understandable for a first viewing, you want to do this instead, which was initially in the what do you call this, storyboard, which was that. You see how he pushed back and then fly toward us, and then you feel that, you can see that already, that it's going to happen. Meanwhile, compared to what we had was this, you don't see it happening, but you're expecting it. And well, you weren't expecting it, obviously, it just happens and you had to accept that. Meanwhile here, you see that it's going to happen in next cut, and then you expect it, and it feels a little bit better that you know, you were led to believe that that's what's happening. Now this is just few little things, you know, it's not like it's too, oh my god, epic, oh my god, a big change or whatever, but you have to keep this in mind whenever you're making something. So that's pretty much it. I'm not allowed to talk about the technicalities yet because there's some few issues about the frames per second here. Obviously, if we're editing this in a video editor, it's going to be a little bit wacky because we have it in 18 frames per second initially, and then when we have to convert it in a video editing, it's going to have to be 24 frames per second. Now if you're going to watch the Dragon Ball Pivot Jiren versus Goku that I did together with Lucio, that was also the issue. That's why our videos are a little bit different. His video might be a little bit faster, mine might be different with the quality, but also a little bit slower here and there. There are a lot of people have been complaining about it since then. But yeah, this was the issue with that. We have to decide whether we want it to be fast or slow or things like that because of the frames per second here. Now I'm fine. I have a different video editing program that I could, you know, edit with. And yeah, the other technical stuff, I'm not sure if I'll go with that. I also just recently learned about it because, you know, I'm studying animation in college and all that stuff. So yeah, I hope you learned something in this video and enjoyed a little bit of this and that. I'm not expecting you guys to do this workflow. It's just that I'm just showing you how it goes. Now obviously, if you're working alone by yourself, you're free to just go with the flow, but the storyboard or working with a draft, the first draft of the movements or whatever you want to do, is really helpful if ever you feel like you've just, you know, lost motivation. And, you know, it's not every day that you can just do whatever you want to do. And if you just had it, you know, like you made like pictures of the movements and then you use it as a reference in near future or whatever, then you're good to go. You don't need to think up of a way to do something else again. And also you can change it. You don't need to follow it. As you can see, I didn't even follow the jumping off rocks here. I just did this instead of the jumping rocks things. I might add it somewhere else except here, but yeah, I think that's it. I'm not sure if I have something else missing. I might make a tutorial for this punch here, but I'm not sure because there are people who watch the stream and they probably get the gist of how it is done. If I have to be more obvious about it, this is basically like almost you're drawing every single frame of it, but it's not really drawing it because you're working with objects such as stick figures and just moving it in a particular way that it seems like it's a drawing. So there you go. I hope you learned something and I hope you enjoyed, and that's it. That's the end of the video. Goodbye now. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye.